Hello and welcome back to the Arsenal podcast. We come to you, well, literally minutes after the end of the Norwich game, and you know, a point is a point, I suppose. I think it's an okay result, but we'll get onto that shortly. We'll also be talking about everything else Arsenal, just like normal, looking back perhaps a little bit at Zagreb and anything else that needs to be covered. With me once again is Mr. Diamond Jack.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Well, I think the best thing about that...
Indifferent.
Yeah, I think the best thing about that game was the 2 pints I had during it, which was a novelty for me because I very rarely get to actually watch the game in the pub. So if I'm really trying not to be sweary, but I've had 2 pints of Guinness, so I might start chinning people in a minute or something, I don't know.
Okay, try and maybe like punch the table or something.
Yeah, I will.
With a mini punch bag on tap. No Paul again with us this week. He promises he'll be back with us next week. That'll be after the Sunderland game.
It's fair weather, isn't he?
He is. I've been having words with him off the air, and he's gonna. It's not just a New Year's resolution. It's going to be a pre-New Year's resolution.
Cool.
Just to Paul get back onto the air. So. Yes, I mean, after losing to West Brom, I mean, I said last week I was pretty confident about the Norwich when didn't really come to fruition. Almost when Ozil scored, it seemed like we took our foot off the gas, which is a bit of a mistake. I think we still dominated the tempo, but we really lacked just that bite in midfield today because Flamini doesn't give it to us. I tell you what though, but he's definitely been told by Steve Bold or Arsene Wenger, whoever it is, to just wind your game back in because he sat a lot deeper tonight, which I was happy to see. He doesn't fly in and shoot down the pitch and just be this headless chicken. Obviously Ramsey was out on the right. I think he had limited effect really, but it's his first start in pretty much a month, 5 weeks, so I can forgive him that. And it will take him a while to get the chemistry up with Bellerin behind him as well, so who is also just coming back from injury. So what are your thoughts, Jack?
I think that it's what do I think? I think that the result itself flattered both teams in different ways. I don't think that I think the Ozil goal was fantastic, and I think that it was definitely with the run of the play. I thought we definitely deserved to be 1-0 up. And I think similarly to the West Brom game, we didn't culminate the pressure that we'd had. I think that, like you said, we took our foot off the gas. We sort of let them play their game a little bit more, let them find themselves into the rhythm of the game again, and it didn't work. Again, it doesn't, this whole sitting off thing and absorbing pressure when you've got one goal ahead, it's just not working.
Well, it's worrying because I think just the absence of Coquelin is already showing.
And I said it last week, I said it on the eFootball podcast as well, that if you don't understand as a neutral the impact that Francis Coquelin has on Arsenal Football Club's midfield, just wait to see over the next couple of games with the gap in the midfield there. And as much as I like Matthew Flamini, he is no Francis Coquelin.
By any stretch.
It's quite a difficult game to talk about actually, because not massive amounts happened. It wasn't the best game I've seen all year. Norwich were quite good value, I thought, as well.
Yeah, agreed with that. I think it was very similar to the Spurs-Chelsea game earlier today, only there were actually goals.
Yeah.
I think Norwich are quite a weird one. I mean, being a part-time, should we say, Ipswich fan, I've not got a lot of time for Norwich, obviously. But yeah, I have to. Certain players, I like Robbie Brady a lot. I think he's a really clever footballer.
I like him as well. That's the first time I've seen him actually, and he's a very, very talented footballer. I've always liked Wes Hoolahan as well. I think he's a very tidy player. and their captain, I don't know the captain's name. I didn't catch his name, but
Johnny Howson,
yeah,
or
the one who I think he got a couple of knocks off Kozala, but he's very talented. I like him as well. He's quite tenacious as a player, but I just think that we didn't exactly cover ourselves in glory today. There's a few players out there who should be really having to kind of look at what they're doing on a week by week basis.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I don't think the point is so bad. Again, we're talking about, just like we were against West Brom, the injury factor, and it looks like we've lost not one, not two, but three players to injury now. Koscielny obviously had what I thought was a back problem. It's actually a recurrence of the hip problem. But there's so many. It's like hip injuries in footballers. It's like it's becoming more of a common theme, which is strange because it sounds like such a cricket injury, you know. And so Koscielny's going to be out, and obviously we don't have the League Cup to worry about. So
hopefully it's not a rotator though, because if he's done a rotating injury, for anyone who doesn't know, the socket, the joint that fits into the socket of your hip, if the pelvic bone, if that gets injured, that is a really, really bad injury to get. And
I don't think it is, but because it was. I mean, all of the injuries we picked up tonight were kind of similar. Like Koscielny, it was going in after the tackle, and he just sort of he did sort of twist, but he landed.
He sort of pulled up, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously the moment like none of us have wanted to see, but I think a lot of us have expected with Alexis. And again, he pulled out of the tackle, and just before he did, his hamstring went, as happens quite a lot when you pull out of a tackle and you have to you wind your body in, and he felt the back of his hamstring, and it was like, oh dear God. Now, I mean, I'm going to say something about this. Like, obviously on the back of Fury Klitschko, which I'm not sure if you saw, Jack.
I started to watch it and it put me to sleep actually because it was so boring. But yeah. Okay,
well, I thought it was very technical, but aside from that. Like a boxer, right? A trainer has to know when to pull out his fighter. You know, if he's getting his arse handed to him, basically. Similar, a manager needs to know when to take their player off. Now, against Zagreb, Alan Smith was talking about this on Sky. I completely agree with his point. Or in fact, Thierry Henry as well. That we're 3-0 up against Zagreb. 70 minutes. That's the time to bring him off. And if he had come off in those 20 minutes, who knows? He might have been okay. He might have still got injured, but we're 3-0 up, and I don't see the risk of taking him off. And Wenger's known this. He said, you know, he was a doubt coming into this game, his injury, and I still don't know why he was risked. I don't think if Sanchez he's contributing, right? But all I saw from him today, unfortunately, was him conceding possession again. And if he can't really, you know, if it's just not happening for him, then just don't play him. Play Gibbs on the left. You know, when late in the game we had Joel on the left and Ramsey, because when Ramsey came off it was Ox on the right, and then Joel Campbell. And Joel Campbell was completely lost on the left. He didn't know what to do. He doesn't belong there at all. So yeah, I'm a bit annoyed. We don't know the extent of it. It looks similar to Coutinho last week.
I mean, if it's a strain, that's a couple of weeks. You know, that can happen and that kind of stuff. If he's torn his hamstring, that's a serious blow. And
I don't think he's torn it. I've got to hope not. But
you know, even a minor tear. Do you know what I mean? It's really bad news and bad management. You know, let's not skirt away from that. The fact that he played 70 minutes, he played the full 90 against Zagreb, and then he's a doubt coming into the game, and he still starts him.
Yeah,
you can talk about any manager in the world. If that happens with a star player, that is seriously bad management. You know, anyone can defend him as much as you like, but you know, did the gamble pay off? No. It didn't pay off. There's no point. There was no point in it occurring. And Joel, yeah, you're right. He got absolutely murked off in the left. He didn't have a good game when he came on, I didn't thought. But I don't necessarily blame him, really and truly. Could you have put one of Ramsey or Chamberlain out there?
I think Ramsey was off the pace today, so that's why he came off. But then
played Campbell on the right.
And Ox on the left.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or switch Carzola out there and put.
Well, I think I'm coming on to this. I think Santi is in the I think it was the first half. He went into a tackle and he looked like he jarred his knee, and he played on for the whole game. Which I hope has not done him more injury, because Wenger said in the post-match that he's got a problem with his knee now. So that's 3 first-team players potentially out for a couple of weeks. Now, the fixture list is pretty kind to us now. We've got Sunderland away, and goodness me, I can't remember who the next one is. It's away, but it's
Villa.
It's Villa away. You're absolutely right. And then it's Man City. So Man City's not till the 19th. So there's a good chance we could have that full quota, that trio back for the 19th. Even so, to have them out for 2.5, maybe 3 weeks, it's a huge blow.
These aren't walkover games either.
They're not walkover games.
Sunderland have just come off the back of a 1-0 win against Stoke, 2-0 against Stoke, and. Villa are in an absolute mire at the moment, but they're at home. They are. They're bottom of the league. They're at home. They've got Remy Gard playing against them, as their manager as well. I'm sure he's put a rocket up in yesterday or in the ground or whatever. And
they need more than a rocket.
Yeah, well, they definitely need something. But that historically, that's been a tough place for us to go. You know what I mean? And it's not, and they're not going to be one of these teams who let us play our game. They're not going to be a team who just stand there and let us waltz around them. They're going to be putting challenges into us. They're going to be hard. They're going to be up for it.
Well, that's a good point, because the first game of Remy Gard's tenure was against Man City, and he had a really impressive showing. Defensively, they were really good. So if we don't have the players to unlock their defence, then we could just be looking at a 0-0.
But by all accounts, by anyone else's view, it isn't the hardest run of games coming up before the City game. By anyone.
I think that's largely the point. Yeah.
But the only reason anyone's saying that is because we are expected to pick up points there, and anything less than a win should be seen as failure. Because personally, in my personal opinion, the West Brom and Norwich game should be seen as complete failure. Because there is no positive result that has come out of these last 2 games. The fact that we've lost potentially four senior members of the team, going into a game against Sunderland away against Sam Allardyce's side, who love kicking Arsenal players up in the air. How is this good enough?
Well, it's Sunderland at home, but I hear what you're saying.
Sunderland at home. But this comes, we're talking about this now, 2 games in, and you can even count the Tottenham game in this as well, the 1-1. So we haven't won a game in 3 games, right?
Yeah, 2 points in November. I'm quite glad it's over, really.
Mate, this keeps coming back to one person. And you know what I'm going to say, Neil, because, I texted to you during the game. But the only person who sees that the squad is light, the only person who doesn't see that the squad is light is the only person who can change it. And now we're in a situation where we're coming up to the busy Christmas period. We're 4 players down on where we should be, and he didn't sign anyone in the summer. How can that go with that being said? It feels very, very similar again.
Your size speaks volumes.
Yeah, well,
So I feel exactly the same.
I'm sitting here at home, and I'm going, why do I bother? Like, you know, I might as well have bought a DVD from the 2010 year and just put that on today, because it's the same thing over and over and over and over again. You know, we'll play some games and we'll turn teams over, but then we're not consistent enough to actually sustain anything. And you know, people talk about us being in for the league this year, and you know what? If we put a string of games together, we could absolutely be up there. But I think that the quality of the league at the moment isn't where it used to be. And I mean, have we gone up to second tonight, or are we still in fourth?
Point. 28 will be level on United with the United. I think we're ahead of them just.
Okay, so we might even be up as high as second.
I think we're third best.
Okay.
We can't be second.
So, are we the third best side in this league? Really? With the third best squad, the third best facilities, the third best, all this kind of stuff. Is that where we really feel that we are at the moment? Because it doesn't feel like it.
Well, I mean, is that a rhetorical question?
I'll ask you. What do you think?
I think it feels. Well, that was my prediction at the start of the season, that we'd be the third best, and you know, it's an accurate reflection. Whether it's, you know, we've got a team in blue, but it's not the one we expected at the top of the table.
And do you know what? Leicester are such great value.
Yeah,
they're such great value. They're so fun to watch because they're not. They do the defensive stuff, but they're so much fun to watch going forward because they play with ambition and drive. And Vardy's, and you know, and sorry, what were you going to say?
No, on that word, I'd just like to congratulate Jamie Vardy for setting the Premier League.
So I was thinking about this yesterday, right? Jamie Vardy, to me, definitely deserves a call up to the England team. Not that I give a monkeys about England or anything like that. Massively club before country, in my opinion. But how does Jamie Vardy's attitude differ to someone like Jack Wilshere's attitude, as far as you're concerned? Because I know you've spoken before about his you know, Jack's personality and the way he is and stuff like that. But as far as I know, Jamie Vardy is much more of a little chav than Jack Wilshere is. You know, and he's still a very talented footballer, and yes, he's broken this record, but that's almost irrelevant at the moment. In this conversation that we're having at the moment, how does it differ for you?
Okay, that's an interesting point. He has been called up to England, and he's played once. I think he's got one cap, maybe two. I mean, yeah, that's a fair point. I think Vardy seems like more of a reformed character.
Right.
Whereas I don't think Wilshere is even I mean, Jack Wilshere is turning into, I mean, Wilshere and, Jack Grealish. I mean, they're two peas in the pod. If it weren't for the fact that you were called Jack, I would bring you up from there. But I can't possibly do that.
But no, it just occurred to me yesterday watching the match of the day, watching Jamie Vardy and stuff, because you know, if he weren't a footballer, he'd probably be hanging out on a street corner drinking cider out of a plastic bag, like, do you know what I mean? But
absolutely, that's why it's such a good story.
Yeah, it is, and you know, I just feel like someone, because it looks to me like he really loves playing for Leicester City Football Club. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, you know, with football, you know, players love the club as much as, so long as they're getting paid what they feel they deserve by the club themselves, most of the time. But it genuinely feels like Jamie Vardy, because Leicester gave him a chance. Do you know what I mean? Because they trusted him to play up front for them, and he got them to the Premier League, and they trusted him again to play in the Premier League up front for them. He's just brimming with confidence at the moment.
But Jamie Vardy is complete breath of fresh air. I tell you, he's better than Wilshere because of the fact, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and he turned his ankle, and everyone was watching it. It's like, oh, here we go, it's the end. There goes his run, and he just carried on playing. Right. It was so good to see, because anyway, he just ran it off. It's like, yeah, I'm Jamie Vardy, I'm injured, but I'm going to run it. I'm going to play anyway. He's been playing under pain for the last couple of weeks.
Right, but I don't think you can blame Wilshere for getting injured. Do you know what I mean?
I'm just going back to his penchant for hitting the deck.
Right, okay.
Too much.
Well, I think that they do play in different positions and stuff, and Wilshere is more inclined to get tackled and have his ankles bitten a bit more, because obviously he will bite, and he has bitten in the past, you know what I mean? And people think he can, they can provoke a reaction out of him. But I just think that today, the level, and moving side slightly, I think that the level of passion and enthusiasm shown by Jamie Vardy yesterday compared to someone like Olivier Giroud today is just so startlingly different, and it's almost worrying that Olivier Giroud hasn't scored in, I think it's 5, oh no, he scored in midweek, but in the Premier League in 5 games now or something, is it?
No, he scored against West Brom, obviously, but before...
Sorry, yeah, he did.
Before that... Well, I mean, I think he had. I think you might need to read your stats a little bit deeper. Cause...
Yeah, sorry, man. I might completely balls that up there, but there we go. But then in that case, then his. I know what you mean. Overall, kind of level today.
Okay. I'll say something actually. With Vardy, it's like I was watching yesterday, and when he scored, I made a substantial noise when he scored because it's brilliant. But it was like everyone. It was like it was almost like an arrogance that he expected the ball. But then the difference is he got the ball and he scored. Giroud was just arrogant, I don't want to say it's just him being French or anything, or his character. But when he gets the ball and then he wastes it, though. Or he doesn't really do anything for the team, particularly in that position. I'm not talking about his hold-up play because that's fantastic, and I'll never disagree. I'll never say anything bad against Giroud in those terms. But Vardy just he's not. I'm trying to work it out. He's an enigma to me because he's not that quick, and he's not. I think he's about 5. I think he's about 5'10", 5'11". He's pretty wiry, to be honest.
He is.
But he belies his pace because he's so clever with the ball. He's such an intelligent footballer. There's very few players like him.
Should we throw a bid in for him in Jan?
Well, I don't know, because I've been talking all weekend. He should stay at Leicester, because if he goes to Man United, he'll be shoved on the left.
Yeah. Unless
he plays for Chelsea in a number 10, which won't happen, he'll just be another bit player. There's no way. If he goes to Man City, bit player, he has to stay at Leicester. And I know he'd want to get a big payday from Chelsea, and Leicester have said today or yesterday that if they get a bid for £30 million, they probably let him go. But he really needs to think about it, because he's doing great at Leicester.
How old is he now?
27, 28, I think.
So he's just getting into peak now.
He's always a player that I've liked him for a couple of years now. When Leicester first came up, he was a player I thought, right, he could definitely do it. And the last, it was the Man United game, which was the start of people started to notice him. Scored 1 goal and 4 assists, I think he got. And he's been a very flaky player. But then this is kind of classic Leicester, really. Mahrez is a totally flaky player, and this season he just hit his straps and he's been amazing. The whole Leicester side have brought their game up to another level. I don't want to talk about Leicester too much, but and Jamie Vardy is the antithesis.
You have to do it because it's so refreshing, though. Do you know what I mean? Compared to all the other sides around us, you know what I mean? It is so refreshing. Just moving on slightly then from that, obviously I think our regular feature in this podcast is going to be Ozilwatch. I'm glad. How do you think he did today?
I think he did really well. He was tracking back a lot, as I noticed in the game, which really pleased me, and I hope it pleased you. Because that's what you've complained to me about him.
That's one of the things I've complained to you about with him. Yeah, absolutely. And he has, and he definitely did fit some things better today than he has done previously. And he took his goal incredibly well. It was a very, very good goal that he scored. And in the first half, especially, I thought he played really well. And I was saying, blimey, I think he actually might be our man of the match so far. but then
my jaw just dropped to the floor.
Yeah, but then Neil, he vanished. And I text you.
Yeah.
Because I went to the bathroom like during the game and stuff, and I genuinely thought he'd been substituted because he vanished. And
I think the whole team vanished, to be honest.
Yeah, but but at least there were players out there who were getting in front of the ball and trying to stop play building from Leicester. From Leicester, I've got Leicester on the brain. From Norwich's side of things, and I said to you, great players change games, and I've kept saying it to you, and I'll keep saying it to you until he starts doing it. We had 10 minutes left, and not just Ozil, but especially Ozil, no one grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck and pulled us through it and got us the win, like the great Man United sides of the past have, like the great Liverpool side, like the great great Chelsea team back in the day.
You just said that, which hit a nail on the head, of the past.
Yeah,
I think that's what you need to think about, though.
What the quality of the opposition isn't there anymore.
Of the past. If United had that extra mile, that extra special player, they'd have beat Leicester yesterday, but they didn't. Mm-hmm. If Chelsea maybe had that really spark, I think Hazard played really well today, but if they had that certain spark in the team, they'd have beaten Spurs. Mm. So yeah, I'm not so sure about that.
But is Ozil a special player like that then?
I think he's showing it more often now.
So why didn't we get the result then? By your own logic, if we have got one of those players, therefore we should have got a result. He should be turning games on his head, on their heads. And I think that City are privileged in the fact that they've just got so many good players. Well, I say privileged. They've just spent so much money on developing such a huge squad of top draw talented players.
Such a privilege in having Qatari multi-billion
oil
dealerships and stuff like that. Yeah.
That they can rely on. Yesterday they had Fabian Delph score a goal. Now, while I don't think much of Fabian Delph, he's definitely a talented player and stuff. But they picked up a win yesterday, and I said to you before, if we're going to win this league, we need to match and better City's results. Now, obviously, last week they lost, we drew. Last week they drew, we lost, and this week they've won and we've drawn, which is the a microcosm of what's happening, of how our league is developing and how our season is developing. That we're almost there, but not quite there. Yeah,
I think City lost as well last weekend.
They did. You're right. They did lose. I've had 2 pints of Guinness. Leave me alone.
That's too many.
But they won. They won yesterday, and they are building up a bit of momentum. You know what I mean?
It's very hard to say, because that momentum could come crashing down against us.
Oh, blimey! I don't know about that, but
I don't know either. But it could.
Yeah, but it's just I'm worried. I am worried because winning big against a team every so often isn't going to win you this league. It's winning consistently that wins you this league.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but I think you're right, because it's looking too similar to every other season at the moment. Just a bad November, a bad month here, a bad month. I mean, this is a really bad. I can't remember the last time we lost 3 senior players in a game, and this is just with Ramsey coming back, who's just he won't. And Chamberlain, yeah. So no, that's really worrying. Yeah. Yeah.
Very strange.
I mean,
I don't really know what else to say, to be honest with you. it's again, it's quite a difficult game to talk about. I mean, I thought Norwich's goal was sloppy. I thought Gabriel should have done better with the defending there. He's half fallen down by the time the ball's gone into the net. But
I actually think Ramsey was the fault for the goal,
You might be right there.
I think he got turned, and unfortunately, yeah, I think they were saying Mertesacker and Koscielny didn't step up. Koscielny was on the pitch at that time, I think. Oh, no, he wasn't. He was.
No, it's Gabriel.
It was Gabriel. You're right. Yeah. So they didn't step up, and then basically by doing that, they allowed Brady to run in, and Lewis Grabban was there with the space to touch, turn, and place the ball.
Playing devil's advocate for a second, do you think that Czech should have done better?
With the I expected him to save it, I have to say, but that's not really. I don't really want to take too much away from him, because I think he made one really, really excellent save from.
Was it Brady again?
I don't think it was Brady. I think it was. It might have been Brady, actually. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was a really good, full stretch save.
And Houlihan had a chance at the end as well. In the.
He did just before the end of the first half. It was. I think it was Houlihan at the far post. I think. I can't remember who crossed it.
No, I can't either. I was trying to remember.
From the right, but that was a great chance. Houlihan left-footed as well.
Should have scored.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think let's just maybe take our thoughts and regroup for the Sunderland game. I think
you're right. I think maybe I'm being a bit over dramatic with it, because I've literally just finished watching it, but. Yeah, I think the boys definitely need a bit of work in the week, and really need to step up and take.
Well, we get a week off now, which is great. Maybe some players can go on like a 2-day holiday to Dubai or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know why you do that, a 2-day holiday in Dubai.
Clacton.
Yeah, Frinton on Sea.
Clacton, the Dubai of Essex.
Yeah. Right. And probably on that note, we might wrap things up, I think. Unless there's not really much, thoughts on the Champions League. Obviously now we need to go to Greece, where we've not won in the last. In fact, we've not even got a point in games in Greece in the last 3 attempts, and we need 3. And if we don't, we're on Thursday nights, and then which means we're on Sundays forever now, after Christmas, I think.
Don't care.
Which is great. That's what I care about. Playing Sundays.
Yeah. I hope we win. If we don't, meh. Really and truly. I suppose, I want us to win, because then we don't go into the Europa League, and then we can see who we get in the next round, and if we go out in the next round, then there's no more games in Europe for 1 year again. But I think that's probably the best thing to do, is if if we can't go out of it completely, just anything but the Europa League. I think that's my I think what's going to happen is we'll score early, 1-0, and then we'll go all the way through. We'll slog through the game. At 88th minute, they'll get an equaliser, going to the Europa League. That's what happened.
I can see it now.
Yeah, I think a few people can.
The Europa League final. Ugh. I don't know where it is. Arsenal versus Spurs.
Yeah, well, that I was actually saying to someone, that is the only benefit of us going into the Europa League, is not necessarily the final, but if it was the semi-final to get into the Europa League final and we got Tottenham, I mean,
that would be an occasion.
That would be a little bit. That would be a little bit special. But outside of that, I'm not massively keen on going into it. Let's just pull up. Where is the final? If it's in Amsterdam, I'm 100% into it. The final is.
I think it is. I think Paul said something like it.
No, no, almost Amsterdam. The 2016 UEFA Euro League final is in
Astana,
St Jacob Park in Basel, Switzerland.
Absolutely love St Jacob Park. Although I'm a bit sad it's not the Arnold Schwarzenegger Stadium or the Stadio Swiss Wankdorf.
Yeah.
Stadium with Swiss Wankdorf even. Okay, well that's something to leave on a nice note. Thanks for joining us again. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, mate.
We'll be back next week after, what should really be 3 points against Sunderland. And if it's not, then I think the podcast might be quite interesting. So in the meantime, you can follow the Facebook page. On Facebook, obviously, you can contact us. You can contact me at the 91st Neil. That's at the 91STNEIL on Twitter. And Jack.
My Twitter account is at diamond__Jack.
And more widely, E_ArsenalNet. Thank you very much for listening. See you next time.